What's going on, everybody? American Football Network here with another video today. And today we're bringing you guys our Florida State Louisville preview and prediction video. But before we get started, make sure you guys like and subscribe, comment those thoughts and opinions down below. Let me know who you have um, winning this game and what your final score prediction is in the comments. Also, make sure you guys check out the description for links to our shop, podcast, website, patron page, and our college football roundup channel. So check all that stuff out. But let's go ahead and get started with today's video. So we got the ACC championship between, like I mentioned, Louisville and Florida State. It'll be this Saturday. That it was, I believe, the 8 o'clock game on ABC. Louisville comes into this one at 10-2 overall, 7-1 in the conference. Um, Lost to Pitt earlier in the season. They lost to Kentucky in their rivalry game, 38-31, and then so those were two tough losses to two not very good teams. But you look, they did have a big win over Notre Dame at home. They had a big win over a team that was kind of sneaky and a surprise team in the ACC. They had a good win over Virginia Tech at home, beat them. Um, Ended up beating them 34-3. Also a nice win over Duke at home, 23-0. But if you look through Louisville's schedule, the teams they played, the way that they performed, this was a team that definitely performed better at home as opposed to being on the road. Whereas you look at Florida State, they come in at 12-0 overall, 8-0 in the ACC, and they've kind of been, they've been I wouldn't say dominant all season long because they've definitely played some closer games, but they've just been more consistent as far as home and away than Louisville has. But you look at the common opponents this season for these two teams. Boston College is one of them. Florida State beat them 31-29 on the road back in week 3. Louisville beat them at home 56-28. Florida State may have been looking ahead to that Clemson game. It was right before that one, so may have been the case there for the Seminoles. You look at Pitt as one of them. Florida State beat Pitt 24-7 on the road. Louisville, like we mentioned, lost to Pitt on the road 38-21, but that Louisville Pitt game was coming after Louisville just beat Notre Dame. So, the emotions were high. You just pull off the upset. You see it all the time. The next week, the teams kind of lose it and fade out. But Louisville was able to bounce back later on in the season as well. That wasn't just a peak for them in that Notre Dame game. Like I mentioned, Virginia Tech, they're also one of them. Florida State beat them 39-17 at home. Louisville beat them 34-3 at home. Duke's another one. Florida State beat them 38-20 at home. Louisville beat them 23-0 at home. And this was a Duke team that for both when they during both of these games had a compromised or no Riley Leonard. Was after his injury in the Notre Dame game for Duke. Miami was the last one. Florida State beat them 27-20. Louisville beat them 38-31 on the road for Louisville, at home for Florida State. So take that as you may. I'm not going to sit here and base my prediction off of common opponents. Just thought that was kind of interesting to see how they matched up against some teams that both of them played. But now into my biggest three factors for this game. Number one is the Louisville run defense. Florida State, they got their Jordan Travis is gone, the backup QB's in for them, so they're going to have to find a way to establish a run game to really uh, give themselves a chance in this game. And so it's going to be a challenge because Louisville does have a pretty solid defense, especially. Um, Whenever you look, like I mentioned, Florida State's down their quarterback in Jordan Travis, which on that subject real quick, you hate to see him go down with an injury, man. It's his last season. He had this team um he had him on a nice season so far. He had just progressively gotten better and better and better each season. And then they come in to North Alabama, man, and he gets injured in that one. They were actually down 13-0 in early on in that game, and they were able to rally around that injury and come back, and they won at 58-13. But this Louisville run defense is going to have to stop the Florida State rushing offense because Tate Rodmaker so far hasn't shown that he can go out and just win a game for them. He just hasn't been able to do that. Although the best game of his career was at Louisville. against them. He had a pretty good game against them, but they're going to have to find a way to stop Trey Benson and Florida State's run game because if Florida State can run the football, then that you look at the receivers they got. Rodemaker can actually make, he might be able to make some plays, and he was able to make some plays in the Florida game in the second half of that one. But you got to be able to stop the run game. If you're Louisville, if you're Florida State, you got to be able to establish the run game. Number two, factor in this game is the Louisville run game because again, I think Florida State's offense is going to struggle. They had 2 yards with like 4 minutes to go in the first half, two total yards with 4 minutes to go in the first half against Florida last week. It was just, that offense did not look good. It did not look good at all. And so, for if Louisville can establish a run game whenever if Florida State's offense is struggling, which I think it will, and Louisville has a run game, then they're going to be able to just absolutely wear down that Florida State defense, just slowly and slowly and slowly wear them out. So I think if Louisville can establish a run game, help wear down this Florida State defense, it's just gonna, it's gonna help them win this football game because Florida State's defense will be tired, the offense will be struggling, and just keeps putting them back out there. So that is what I think Louisville needs to do. But on the flip side, for Florida State, if you're able to stop the Louisville run game, then you're you're helping tire out Louisville's defense. If your offense can get something going, you're also keeping Louisville from just taking the momentum of the game. You're also keeping them from just taking the game over, and so that's going to be a big key to watch here in this one for these teams. And then number three factor is Keon Coleman and Johnny Wilson. I think that these guys are going to have to make plays. They're going to have to get open. They're going to have to catch little screen passes and turn them into something more than that because Rodemaker is not Jordan Travis. He's not going to be able to throw the ball and throw these guys open like Travis did. They're going to have to get open. They're going to have to make plays, and they're going to have to be the leaders that they're supposed to be, and really just drive this Florida State offense. And I think that they definitely can do that. I think they have the possibility to do that. I think that Florida State, I'm not saying that it's impossible for them to get an offense going. I think that it definitely is possible, but it is going to be very close to impossible if Keon Coleman and Johnny Wilson can't make plays in this one. So those are my three factors for this game. My score prediction. Now, Florida State is favored by 2.5, but I think Louisville covers. I think they win. I just think Florida State, they just, I don't think they have it in them to beat a team like Louisville. That Florida team's terrible. South Carolina put up 40 points on them. Kentucky ran the ball for over 200 yards on them, and Florida State, like I said, they had 2 yards of offense in with 4 minutes to go in the first half in that game. Um, so I just don't see Florida State being able to pull this one out and win it. I think it's a 20-16 finish. I just don't think that it's going to be a good game for them. Offensively, I think Louisville's going to be able to do just enough to get the win. I think in the end, Florida State's defense is going to get tired and wear down. And I think that Louisville will come away with the victory. But that wraps up today's video. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Let me know your scores down in the comments below. Help me hit that goal of 1,100 subscribers by the end of November. I appreciate all of you guys tuning in and watching today, and we'll